So today we are going to learn how to sharpen your image in Photoshop. So let's open this image. This image was made in Ranthambore last summer. So we'll open this image. You can download the image which is given in the link below. So let's open. Right click and then open in Camera Raw. So we will learn here three different techniques in how to sharpen your image. One thing which you need to make sure that uh, always you should sharpen your image once the complete processing is done, and whenever you change the size of your image based on the printing or uploading to the social media, you make size changes in your image, then only you should apply sharpness. So that should be the last thing in whole post processing workflow. So make sure the sharpening needs to be done at the end of the post processing. Don't do it in between, otherwise it will ruin your image. Once you complete your sizing of image, then only you should apply. Though you can do it sharpening in Adobe Camera Raw, but I'll not recommend to do it here. You should always do in Photoshop. So I'll brief you three different techniques of sharpening your image. So the first technique, which should be avoided, but if you want a quick sharpening of image, so open your image in Adobe Camera Raw, go to the detail, which is the third tab in the menu, and then you can increase your sharpness. So this is the amount, this is the radius, and this is the detail. So let me just explain all these things. So amount is basically percentage that controls the magnitude of the sharpness, or you can say how much control is added at the transition between the edges of the image. Radius is basically that controls the amount of blur. Basically sharpness is you can say a local contrast adjustment of any image. So it basically creating a mask, and then it sharpen the edges. And details, or you can say threshold, is the minimum brightness change that can be sharpened. So you can make detail as minimum as possible. Increase the sharpness, you can press alt or option key and then drag the slider towards the right to the mask. So you can see the white area is decreasing. Basically it is the masking, which is the white area which you are seeing would only affect. So we want the sharpness to be impact on the edges only. So make it towards the right hand side as per the image, and then leave it. So I'll make it like 80%. That is basically the masking, and masking is applied on the white part, not the black part. So I'll make it like 80%, and then I increase the sharpness, and you can increase the radius little bit. So you can see before, after. So little bit change you can see in in Adobe Camera Raw. As you decrease the masking, you will see or observe a global effect of the sharpness in the image. So this is, so I do not know whether you will be able to see it in YouTube or Facebook. So this is the after, and this was before. And as you increase the mask, the details would be impact on the edges only. Okay, fine. So we will make the SS default. We'll decrease it so that later on we'll do it in Photoshop. Okay, so let's open this image in Adobe Photoshop. Open as an object, if because I have made the settings so that I can directly open this image as an open as object. You can press shift and this, then click open. Okay, so it will open your image as an object. So the benefit of uh, open the image as an object is later on during the post processing, if you want to go back to Adobe Camera Raw, if you want to make adjustment to the image, you can again go back to Adobe Camera Raw. Okay, so now we are here in Photoshop. We learned our first technique, that is with Adobe Camera Raw. Okay, so we will make we'll rasterize this image by right click and then rasterize layer. So as I said, whenever you complete your processing, the last step of any processing is the sharpness. So suppose this is my final layer and I have completed my post processing of this image. So what you can do, you can make a layer, make a new layer of this layer, go to the image, then apply image, apply image. Okay, make sure that the layer is merged and the blending is normal, so that it will copy a layer of the image which you have already processed. Now we will use this layer for sharpening of the image. So the first, or you can say second technique, because first technique we have learned in Adobe Camera Raw. So in second technique, that is called using high pass filter. So this is the best tool to sharpen your image, because it will not impact the tonal range or the color of image. It will impact only the details. So to do it using to do sharpness of your image using high pass filter, what you can do, you can go to the first go to image and then adjustment, desaturate the layer. Okay, so basically what it does actually, I want sharpness to be impact on the details only, not the color. That is the reason we made it we have desaturated the layer, so that will only impact the details. Now I will make it as a smart object, so that later on I'll whenever I apply the smart filter, that will I can again go back and edit or re-edit the image. So I'll go to, I'll right click and then convert it to smart object. Okay, so you can see the layer in the there is a small logo which will come in the layer, this called smart object. Now the layer converted to smart object. Now in blending mode you should make it overlay. I'll explain why you should make it overlay. Okay, so after that you should go to the filter, other, and then high pass. Okay, so just see this layer. So as you increase the pixels based on the the camera or body camera body which you have used, so what I recommend, so let's make it 100% to its eyes. Okay. So always make your pixels in a range where you see a small details of your image. Don't make it too much, otherwise it will impact on the global it will sharpen your image globally. So make it as less as possible, so that it will only apply to the edges of the or details of the image. Press OK. So you can see the we have already done a sharpness of the image. I'll make it more zoom. So you can see this was after and this is before. So can you see the beautifully how beautifully it has done sharpness of image. So since it is a smart object, so you can press this high pass LED by double clicking it, and you can change the amount of the radius as per your taste. So can you see, just see, as I'm increasing the pixel, it will, you know, increasing the sharpness. So don't make it too much. I think 3.84 is enough, depends on the pixels of the images. Press OK. So this is the, you know, second technique we learn using high pass filter, which is a best technique to sharpen your image. Okay, now let's jump to the third technique. So I'll, you know, delete these layers. Okay, so the third is the by using unsharp mask, which is direct technique, which is called local contrast enhancement. Basically, sharpness is just a, you know, local contrast enhancement. So on this layer, which is already a processed layer, so go to the filter, sharpen, and then unsharp mask. So amount is, as we explained, we have already, you know, learned in Adobe Camera Raw. It is the percentage that controls the magnitude, or you can say, you know, how much contrast is to be added at the transition. Transition, I mean, say where there is a details, where there is a, you know, transition of the brightness and the or dark layer or light layers, where the details are there. So this is the amount. You can see the, as I am increasing the amount, it is increasing the sharpness. And this radius is basically the control, the amount of the blur, and which creates actually masking, you can say. So don't make it too much, make it in between, like 30 to like, well, 30 to 70 with okay amount. I think this is too much, so I'll make it like 10. And threshold, you can leave it as such. It is the minimum brightness change that can be, you know, sharpened. So this is the threshold, so by which this, you know, unsharp mask is also a very good technique to, you know, sharpen your image. So you can sharpen your image. Yeah, you can always, you know, make a copy of layer, and then you apply image, and then, you know, by using unsharp mask you can increase the sharpness. So these are the, you know, three different techniques by which you can increase your sharpness of your image once your processing is done. Thank you very much.